don't know my story. They don't know my story. Nope, they don't know my story.
This is a place where survivors can be seen and be heard and be loved and be free. A place where no judgment comes into mind. This is your moment to shine. People gon' talk, yeah. Haters gon' say what they wanna say, but keep doing you, girl. Cause there will be a brighter day. People gon' talk, people gonna talk, yeah. And haters gon' say what they wanna say.
Hello. My name is Alissa R. Jones, and I am so excited to be on tonight on the Survivor's Voice with Alissa R. Jones. I am a motivational speaker, a survivor inspirationalist, and the founder and CEO of the Survivor's Voice Foundation. And I'm so excited about tonight's show. Not only am I excited about it, but it's a very important topic that people do not talk about, which is domestic violence. And as you know, this month in October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so I'm definitely excited about the guest I have tonight. She is no stranger to me. She has been a part of my organization for about 4 years now. And I'm excited because when I learned of her testimony and she shared her testimony with me, it was really heart-wrenching, but just the fact that she is still here to tell it is amazing to me. So I have Nikole Maxie, and I'm excited to introduce her today. Hey, Nikole, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
That's good. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I know that it takes a lot of courage to, for one, tell your story, especially when it's about something like this as far as domestic violence is concerned. And I already know that the viewers is in for a treat to hear what you have to say, but I really, truly love you because you truly understand how important it is to share your story. So I do want to start off tonight with you taking us through that journey of how you got into a domestic violence situation, but as the topic said, he tried to kill you, but God. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I didn't choose that relationship. It just happened. I didn't know that, he would hurt me, in the long run, but, it did. It happened. I learned from it. I know all the signs now, so all the red flags I know now, so I will keep myself out of that.
Yeah.
But
so walk us through that journey. Walk us through that journey of your relationship and how did it get to the point? Because see, I know the story, but these viewers, they not ready.
Well, I mean, honestly, it started from the beginning with the name calling, the degrading, the choking, the slapping. It started off early, but I fell in love, not knowing that love does not hurt. Love should never hurt. And I went through that for 10 years. When I did decide to leave, he was taking me to work one morning, and I told him, I think that you should pack your stuff, go to your mom's house, and, we should separate. He looked over at me, excuse my French, but he told me, he said, bitch, I will run you into a tree. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So I'm still looking down at my phone. I heard the car horns in the background blowing, not knowing that he was veering over into traffic, into a concrete barrier where he ran the car, but my side had the most damage. And when he ran that car into the concrete barrier, I seen it, put my brakes on, and put my brakes on the passenger side. And when I did that, both my legs just snapped.
Wow.
The first thing, I mean, I screamed was God, God, please help me. Please help me, God, please. And he looked over at me and told me, why are you screaming? Why are you doing that? You're going to get me sent to prison. You're going to get me sent to prison. And I just could not believe that he did it. But he had been saying, I love you to the fact to where I will kill you. That's just how much I love you. And I
Wow.
never would have thought ever that someone could love me to the point where they would kill me. And that's what happened. That was not the first time. Um, but that was the last time. That was the last time. I prayed, asked God to please get me out of it. I couldn't walk for 4 months. Depression. Um, I tried to commit suicide. Uh, it was
Mm.
hard. It was really hard.
So, so Nikole, because I'm about to cry, just because, I can't imagine what was running through your mind when that car hit that wall. You know what I mean? Take us through those moments. And I know this is hard for you because it's hard for me listening to you because you're not only a survivor of mine, you became a very close friend. And
Right.
so walk us through those moments when you seen that he was serious, that you seen that, look, oh my God, this car is going into the wall. And, run us through what was going through your mind.
When I looked over at him, all I seen in his eyes was darkness. Like, how could you love me? How could you do this to me? And when he hit the concrete barrier, my body went into total shock. So I had no feeling. I didn't know my legs were
Mm-hmm.
broken. I did not know I had a gash in my arm. I did not know I was burned up on the right side of my body from the airbags. My body just went in total shock. And then all I could scream and all I just, kept asking for was, for God to help me, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy because that was 4 days before my son's birthday. And
Mm.
it was in November, so it was getting ready to be Thanksgiving. So the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I thought about was my kids. What's going to happen to my kids? But I never gave up. Listen, I never gave up. I prayed, I prayed, I prayed. I laid in bed, like I said, for months because I was in a wheelchair. And I just prayed to God to please get me out of, just give me the strength, just let me walk again. And if I walked again, I promised God that I would never, ever, ever be with him ever again.
Mm. Walk
And
us through that journey of learning how to walk again, because
oh God,
see, I could tell you that, unless you lose that ability, because see, we walk every day and we take
exactly.
advantage of the fact that we can walk. So you know that you were able to walk before this incident. Walk us through your pain and agony of having to learn to walk again, being in a wheelchair. Walk
Well,
us through that.
I had 5 surgeries on three on my left, no, three on my right leg, two on my left leg. I had to wear air casts on both legs. Just imagine having casts on both your legs. Um,
Mm.
I wasn't able to go to the restroom by myself. My son had to help me go to the restroom. My son had to help me do all my monthly things. I couldn't comb my hair. I couldn't cook. I had to take blood thinner in my stomach for 30 days. Um,
Hmm.
I laid in bed and watched my lights get cut off because I couldn't work. Um,
Mm.
it was hard. I had a few friends that would come and take me to my doctor's appointment. But it was hard. Just going back to then, I haven't cried in a long time about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Since 2018 to be exact, because you spoke at my
no,
conference.
2010. It was 2010.
2010? Okay.
No, November
Okay.
2nd, 2010.
Okay. Is
And
that when it happened? November
that's
2nd
when it
was when it
happened.
happened?
That's when it
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
November 2nd, 2010.
Okay. So you're actually coming up on a anniversary here soon
Oh,
of
yeah.
that happening.
Yeah. Well, I have a reminder every day because I'm in pain every day.
Yeah.
There's not a day I go by
Yeah.
when I'm not in pain. My
Yeah.
ankles swell up on me. Like it's getting ready to get cold. It's gonna really, really get bad. I have plates and
Yeah.
screws in both legs. Holding my
Wow.
right leg
So you
together
still
on
have
both
plates and
sides.
screws in both legs?
I have them in both legs. My right leg is the one that was the worst because of the breakage, how it broke. So I have
Mm-hmm.
plates and screws on both sides of my right leg. Can't wear
Okay.
high heels
And I
anymore.
actually think I seen you post those pictures today.
Yeah.
So I will get those pictures and share them on my page so the viewers can see exactly, what you're talking about. But, walk us through learning how to walk again, like the mind space you had to be in to even get to where you are.
I was determined. I had to take care of my kids. I had to learn how
Yeah.
to walk again so that I can go back to work. That was my main focus, was going to the doctor, making sure my bones were healing correctly. But my motivation was my kids because that's basically all I have.
Mm.
Are my three kids.
How
And I
old
mean,
were they at that time?
oh God, what was that going on 10 years ago? Josh was getting ready to be 18. Bree was 15. My youngest, I think she was 11 or 12.
Okay.
So they were
Okay.
still really young, and all three of them were still in school. So yeah, that was
Okay.
really hard.
So mentally going through that, being determined and, really trying to say, you know what, God, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not able to walk again. What were some of I know your kids was your motivation, but who was there to encourage you in those moments? Because I know for me, if that situation was in me, I would need to surround myself around positive people that, can push me and encourage me. Who was those people for you?
And that's when you learn who your friends are. Uh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
friend
Yeah.
Portia, my best friend since high school, she was there. She made sure I went to my doctor's appointments. She would talk to me. My friend Mona, she's deceased now.
Hmm.
And my friend named Terrence Brown. They made sure that I got to my appointments. They made sure I got my
Okay.
medicine. They made sure I went to the grocery store. If I called them, they were there. They were there because I don't have any parents. So both of my
Yeah.
parents are deceased. My grandparents are deceased.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So did you ever go through the moment in your recovery where you blamed yourself?
yeah, because I'm like, I could have stopped that. I could have stopped it from the
How do you
beginning, you know. And I chose love. I chose love over me. And I would never ever do that again.
that's good.
I would never ever do that again
Mm,
because I come first.
mm,
I love me. And
yeah.
at that point, I didn't love myself. I didn't love myself. I was looking for someone to love me. How can you love your how can you love someone else and expect someone else to love you when you don't love yourself? So at that time
That's
I wasn't
good.
loving myself. I wasn't loving me. But I love me now and
Hmm.
I would not. I would not under
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
circumstances, verbally, physically, mentally, I'm not taking it. So
Yeah.
under no circumstances.
Yeah. Um, a viewer wants to know, how did you get to a place mentally? The physical was there, but how did you take care of your mental health during this?
Praying every day, reading my Bible, going to church. I actually rejoined church, talking to my pastor, being surrounded by women of God. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I started sharing my story. And that was that was treatment in itself to me a little bit by sharing my story, letting everyone know,
Yeah,
and letting women
yeah,
know, it's not okay.
yeah. It's not okay. Um, in the moment of going through what you went through, did your kids ever share with you about how they felt, about what happened to you?
They did. At first, I didn't tell them actually what happened at first. Just to go back a little bit, when he did, hurt me, when he fought on me and did ugly things to me, it was never when the kids were home.
Mhm.
So they
Oh,
really
okay.
didn't know. Yeah, so they didn't know.
Mhm.
And I was more of the one was, if he wanted to argue, I'm like, no, my kids are here. We're not doing that. So I pushed it under the rug while the kids weren't there, and so that's what he would do. But
Mhm.
once
Mhm.
I sat down and I told them what happened, they were angry. They were angry, but they were also looking at me because I was their protector. So they were angry
Yeah.
at me. They were more angry at me than at him.
Yeah. Okay. And you never hear that. You never hear that your children putting the responsibility on you. Automatically sometimes they blame the man. But what I want to know is, in your relationship with him, do you think that he did these things because you didn't have parents? He knew you didn't have that protection of
Of,
somebody to fight for you as far as family?
of course, because he would tell me all the time, well, no, nobody's going to want you. You have 3 kids. Who's going to want you with 3 kids? No man wants you with 3 kids. That's what he programmed me to think,
Yeah, so you
and
believe that.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
did.
So walk us through that moment where because you said in the car that you told him, I'm done.
I'm
What
done.
got you to that I'm done place?
I guess you would say with him putting guns to my head, threatening my life, not caring, if he did this to me, what would happen to my kids? I just woke up one morning and I was just like, I'm done. I've had enough. I've had enough. And I felt safe that day in that car. I don't know why I felt safe. I guess because we were in the car driving and I would have never thought that, he would do that.
Hmm.
But that was my
Yeah.
safe place at that time. But no, but I don't regret that day. I don't regret it.
Why do
I
you
don't
say
regret
that?
it
Why do you say you don't regret it?
because that was my wake up call. That was because if that day wouldn't have happened, I might not be here today
Hmm.
because all the other times when
Mm,
put his gun on me and he could have killed me, and I wouldn't be here today to share my
mm,
story. So this was
yeah.
a wake up call for me. This is my mission now is to educate other women. Let them know,
Mm,
the signs, that you can leave and still be successful just because they feed you. Well, you're not going to be anything, or
yeah.
no one's going to want you, or you have too many
Yeah.
kids, or you have no work experience. Where are you going to go? You have no family. Don't believe it.
Hmm.
Don't believe it.
Hmm. So, so tell some of our viewers, because Nikole, you and I both know, we've been talking about this subject for quite some time, and it may be somebody listening to us right now that may be in that situation and may be in that relationship. Talk to them about some of the signs and the red flags that you seen that you ignored.
The calling you out your name. The main one for me is I love you to death. I love you so much that I will kill
Mm,
you.
mm,
That was the first time he told me that. I should have ran. I should have
yeah.
ran then. But I'm
Hmm.
thinking I was young. I'm like, oh, he loved me that much? No, I don't never want anyone to love me like that again. Don't love me like that.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the belittling you, telling you no one's ever gonna want you. Just don't believe it. Don't believe it.
How did you guys meet?
Through a brother, through one of my brothers, at his job, where I
Hmm.
should have left him at that day, but I met him through my brother. Met him through
So,
my brother.
what did your brother have to say after this was said and done?
Nothing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they were still friends.
Even
Yeah,
after this happened?
yeah.
Wow. How does that make you feel, Nikole?
Oh, that was hurtful. That relationship between my brother and I, a lot of people don't know. And they wonder why, I don't reach out, why I don't talk to him. There's a story behind it. And, I get looked at, cross-eyed, like, that's your brother. Yeah.
Hmm.
My brother is friends with the guy that tried to kill me, you know.
Wow.
And the thing, I guess, was his thing was, well, I already know how Nikki is.
So what was that supposed to mean?
That he already knew that, because I'm going to speak my mind. And I spoke my
Yeah.
mind regardless of what the consequences was going to be. And he's he's one of the same. I'm just going to put it like that.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. I get it.
He's
So,
one of
and
the
and I
same.
just want to say this to viewers out there that there is a way where we can speak our mind, and it doesn't even matter if you do speak your mind. There is no excuse for any man to try to kill you, put your hands on you. I don't care if it only happened once, and I say that from experience. Um, your abuser will try to push you into silence. Your abuser will try to twist the words and twist the whole situation to make it seem like it's your fault. But one of the things, and you could probably relate to this, Nikole, that I started doing was keeping receipts of
Mm,
text messages and threats. I even started recording conversations. You not gonna say, because there was moments in my situation where he would say something and then would gaslight me and be like, I didn't say that.
mm-hmm.
What? You're crazy. I didn't say that. So I literally had to start recording on my phone our conversations, just so I could be sane and not feel like I was crazy
Right.
because I'm like, I know he said that. Like, for real. And so walk us through some of those moments and some of those arguments where you're like, you know what? I can't. Like, this is too much. Not just physically, but I know I heard you say that he put a gun to your
Yeah.
head. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know for me that I will be sleeping, well, probably not sleeping, but sleeping with my eyes open. What was going through your mind after that happened?
The way that he acted afterward. So anytime he would hurt me, he would go out and buy gifts. Um,
Mm,
whatever. I mean, if I mentioned it before, if it's things that I thought of and he didn't know, he would go out and buy gifts. to make it better, like it was going to be better. And
Yeah.
it didn't get better, it got worse. But
Mm.
the crazy part is that his family knew. His
What do you
family
mean
knew.
by they knew?
His family knew that he was
They knew
abusive.
he was.
His family knew that he fought on me. His brother called me out to dinner one night to tell me to leave.
Mhm.
He said, I'm
Wow.
scared that he's going to kill you. Please
Mm.
leave. And him and I are still friends to this day because he helped me too. He helped me get out because he's seen it firsthand. I mean, most abusers just don't abuse women. They abuse anyone
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
upsets them or put them in a bad mood. So it could be mother, father,
Mhm.
brother,
Mhm.
sister, kids, wife. It doesn't matter who it is. And he had done that before.
So, oh, that's what I was about to ask you. So he had experience with his brother as far as the
His mother,
abuse.
his own mother,
Oh, wow.
own mother.
Mm. So you feel like, and that's another topic within itself, because I do feel like that a lot of family members turn a blind eye to their abusers.
They were scared. They were scared to make
What do
him
you mean
mad.
by
They were
okay?
scared to tell him no. They were scared to tell him if they didn't want to do something or come visit. They were scared because they were scared of how he would blow up. Because what a lot of people thought, uh, that he was Prince Charming. When we would go out with our friends or be around other people, they'd be like, "Oh, he's so nice and he's so sweet to you and this and this." And I would stay in the back of my head like, until we get home. It's totally different.
Yeah. That's almost like the Jekyll and Hyde
Exactly.
um situation where they have two faces. And it's sad that a lot of us women, and I'll be honest and I'll sit here and say that with the organization that I have, that men have experienced domestic violence too. So I'll just openly
Absolutely.
say that it's not just a woman thing. There are men out there that have experienced domestic violence from a woman. And sometimes
Exactly.
women get into being the abuser because they feel like they fought all their life. They feel like that's all they know, and so to be controlling or make a man listen to them, they'll hit them and dare them to hit them back. They feel like because he is a man that he
Right.
shouldn't hit them back. Right. So I'll just openly say that. But then too, I see that one of our viewers, Barbette, has talked about narcissistic. Do you think there was some narcissistic tendencies in your ex?
Absolutely.
Were
Absolutely.
you like me? Were you like me and started researching and looking up what narcissistic is and trying to
Right?
match it? They match that characteristic.
Oh
You look
yeah.
that
Oh
characteristic.
yeah.
Okay, if you have 9 of the characteristics of narcissistic tendencies, you're a
Absolutely.
narcissist. So I started counting like 1, 2,
Exactly.
3. Like you just start mentally going through counting the narcissistic tendencies, and you get to scratching your head like, look, I've been manipulated, I've been gaslighted, I've been love bombed. Because just like you explained earlier, when he would mistreat you, he would take you out or buy you a gift.
I
That's a
guess.
part of love bombing. And a lot of times people understand the characteristics of a narcissistic person. And because we have these blinders on of what love is, and they showed us Prince Charming in the beginning, they
Right.
swept us off our feet. And when they swept us off our feet, you in that web and you in that cycle of manipulation, love bombing, being gaslighted and being deceived. And
Right.
narcissists, which is what Miss Wright said, are liars. Like their
Hmm.
whole life is made up of a fairy
Right.
tale. And
Mhm.
so, if you're an empathetic person, then you are subject to be in a relationship with a narcissist because that's what they tend to go to.
Exactly.
So, Nicole, if you were to talk to a survivor right now, like we discussed earlier, that is, kind of dealing with this stuff, what will you tell them their first plan of action would be dealing with this situation if they feel like, their abuser could potentially kill them? And a lot of times I say potentially because a lot of times in their mind they're like, oh, he loved me, he won't kill me. But we've seen so many domestic violence cases where a lot of women thought that, and the authorities did not react or do anything until it was too late. So let's talk to that survivor about that.
Leave. I know it's easy to say. It is truly easy to say, but you have to go. You have to leave. I mean, when I left, I couldn't walk. I had nowhere to go but to a friend's house to sleep in her son's room.
Mm,
But I left. I left. And like I said, that was one of the best things that I could have did was leave. I didn't care about the marriage anymore because it didn't matter to him. Um, like I said,
mm-hmm.
I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I talked to God for those months that I laid up in bed, and I kept hearing like, there's something bigger out there for you. Leave. I
Wow,
got
that's
you.
good.
I got you. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
about that is I got an apartment without a job. My friend Terrence rolled me into
Mm,
the apartment office, and this lady just cried. She just burst out in tears. She said, "Baby, what happened to you?"
mm,
And I told her my story. And that apartment was mine that day. I moved in the
mm,
apartment. I had no job. I had no money,
mm.
but he did it. My lights didn't get cut off. I didn't get put out.
Yeah,
He made a way
yeah.
out of no way. And I tell people all the
Mm,
time, you have to stand on your faith. And I
yeah,
stood on my faith. I stood on my
yeah,
faith. I'm not saying that I still don't have issues, with what happened to me. Um,
yeah.
I still think about it. I still think about it. But I had to forgive him.
Mm,
And what I did, I called him up one day and I told him, I said, I forgive you.
mm,
I told him, I said, I forgive you. I said, but I'll never forget.
mm.
And once I learned
See,
how to forgive him, I was free. I
mm,
was free.
yeah.
And when he knew he
See,
could no longer control me, that was it.
mm, that was it.
That was it.
And I'll say this, Nicole. Just listening to you, it sounds like you had to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And a lot of women stay in a domestic violence situation because they're comfortable.
Mhm.
See, I can actually say, from my experience, that I stayed so long because I was comfortable. I was scared to step out. I was
Absolutely.
scared to start over. You know what I mean? There were friends in the gap for me when I decided to walk away and I decided to leave. And, in this situation, he had all the money, and,
And
and,
that was
and
the
so
deal with me.
now,
That was the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it sounds like, you had to get uncomfortable. And
absolutely.
yeah, now, looking at, who you are. I see you every day, I follow you. But you had to get uncomfortable to get to the blessing of who you are today.
Absolutely.
What I want to know, and what one of the viewers want to know, is with him trying to kill you, and I'm trying not to cry, I really am. With him trying to kill you, how could you forgive him? What was that process? Because she doesn't
If
feel like she can forgive her abuser.
if I wouldn't have forgave him, I wouldn't be where I am today. And what I mean by that is that I would have kept that hurt and that pain inside of me, and and the hate inside of me, that it wouldn't be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to forgive him so that I could be who I am today. Because if I would have held on to that hurt and that pain, I would have been a hurt person, an unhappy
Yeah.
person all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had
Mm-hmm.
to forgive him.
Yeah.
I had to.
What was
And
that process though? Because I know there was a moment, because I know it was for me, there was a moment where you said, I can't forgive him. Like literally, there was days I prayed that my abuser would die. Like seriously, God
yeah,
put him in a car accident. Just take him.
yeah.
And I know it was the hurt in me, but you go through those emotions, you go through that pain because there's a piece of you that wants you to feel the pain that they inflicted on you.
I mean, there were many of times I thought about killing him in his sleep. But then I always
Mm,
went back to who's going to take care of my kids, you know?
yeah,
So I had to think about them. I had to, but I also had to think about me as well. So that's why I said you have to, you
yeah,
don't have to forgive,
yeah,
but if you want to move forward, you're gonna have to forgive. Because what we tend to do is take that same hurt and pain into other relationships. I wouldn't be no good for anyone else if I continued
yes.
to have that pain and that hurt inside of me. So I had to let it go. I had to.
And that's an important key that you said, and I want to expound on that because you said, if you did not forgive, that you would have taken that into another relationship. Talk to that survivor right now that may have left the relationship, but they're still harboring. Because I would say the young lady that sent that message is harboring and is not able to forgive her abuser. And if I'm sure if we were to talk to her, that it has affected every relationship after that. Let's talk
Absolutely.
about harboring hatred in your heart and not forgiving, so and how it hinders you. Let's talk about that.
So for me, letting go was best for me because like I said, holding the hate in and not forgiving again is you're gonna take that to the next relationship, to the next relationship, to the next relationship. You have to let it go at
Yeah.
your time. I can tell you it might take years. It
Right,
took
right,
years
right.
for me to forgive him. It didn't happen
Mhm.
overnight. I had
Mhm.
to grow within
Mhm.
myself, and I was brought up in church. So
Yeah.
forgive, forgive, forgive,
And no
forgive, forgive,
divorce.
forgive. And who? And no
And no
divorce.
divorce.
No, I
Yes.
wasn't taught that one.
I was taught that one. And it's so
No,
crazy because I'll be transparent as well that I've been through, a couple divorces, and actually I
I
stayed
had
in
to.
my last marriage, you know, the longest, because when you go to the church, the first thing they tell you is to work it out. You're supposed to stay, you're supposed to go through it. But one of the things I learned within my last situation is how serious emotional abuse is and how serious mental abuse is. And even though it wasn't physical like my first domestic violence relationship, well, no, let me take that back because that's a lie. It did become physical, but you know, the emotional and mental piece of it really took a toll on me that I had to step back, you know, from my passion I do for you know almost a couple years. So there was a part of me that forgave, but I didn't really know how to move forward. You know what I mean, Nikole? I was like
Yeah.
stuck. You get stuck in the pain. You get stuck in the
Mhm.
situation to where you literally miss out on blessings. Like if I was to
Absolutely.
look back, yeah, if I was to look back on things that I have been through and things and opportunities and relationships that I actually missed because I was hovering on just being hurt. And there are some people out there that just waddle in the hurt because they don't know there's a other side to happiness. They don't know that forgiveness is for them. They don't know that they need to just, you know, move forward to remain unstuck. So let's talk to that survivor tonight that is stuck, not necessarily stuck in a relationship, but stuck in the pain. Let's talk to them and guide them on how to get unstuck.
You have to put yourself first. You have to start loving you.
Mm, mm,
Self-love.
mm.
Once you start loving you, you see things different.
Yeah.
And it
But
starts with
Nikole,
you
what does
first.
that look like? What does self-love look like though? Because see, I'm
Loving
just
you,
on this journey of self-love.
not being cussed out in the morning, not being hit on, not being mistreated, not being
Yeah,
mentally abused. You know, you have to put you first. You first.
yeah,
Always.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah, because
And I
you
didn't
know,
put
for
me
me,
first.
Nicole, yeah, because for me, Nicole, you know, I seen, you know, when I really started reflecting on what I was going through, and I had to go through a journey of loving myself as well. And one of the things, you know, that I would talk to my counselor about was, you know, all the things that he did to me, and what I've been through, and you know, I was just going through it, and then she looked at me and she said, "Now." Let's talk about what's inside you that allowed this to happen. And when I
Absolutely.
tell you that was a punch in my stomach, because I'm looking at her like, listen, we're not talking about me, okay? But
Exactly.
to bring that in the forefront because there was something in me, and what was in me was, you know, during that period, you know, last year, you know, I lost my stepdad, and then shortly after that I lost my biological father. And so, you know, now I feel like the men that protected me in my life are gone. And there was a sense of, you know, that love, like you want to be loved so bad that you'll take it from any and everybody that just shows you a little bit of ounce of love, even if it's pain within that love. And I
Exactly.
had to really teach myself what love was and what love was not. Because, see, what I was in and the love that I was experiencing was control, it was
Mhm.
manipulation, it wasn't love. And so, to really have to step back and learn that all over again, because see, you know, we went to high school, we're both graduates, you know, it's like I learned this in school. But what people don't understand is what happens within your home. See, I was sexually abused, so I never knew, you know what I mean? What love felt like. I knew what it was with my body, you
Right.
know, and I thought that's what love was. So, you know, I say all of that to say that you really have to get into what self-love is and what that you have to go back to in your past that allowed you to deal with the treatment that you went through. So if you were to talk to that survivor right now, um, I know that you keep saying, you know, love yourself, but what are some of the things that they can do to love themselves?
Leave.
Now I'm laughing
Leave.
because that's all you've been saying the whole show. Like, look,
Leave.
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 But
Leave.
I'll say this for me, you are so silly. I'll say this for me, for self love, I had to start treating myself. And what I mean by that is going to go get a massage, going to go get a pedicure, keeping my nails done, I started, doing my makeup. I started, doing just little things to take care of me. Started relaxing. Like everybody that knows me will tell you I do a million and one things. And I will say this, I master every single one of them. But I do not slow down. Here recently I was sick. And I had a cold, and I'm telling you, Nikole, I just kept going. I was like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. It's just, it's a mental thing for me. I don't think as sick as I was, I know how to sit still. I don't. It's almost a gift and a curse.
Right. But
So,
also, there's also a lot of women who can't go get their nails done. Who can't go get a massage because that man is controlling all the money. So self-love
like
to
my
me
mom.
starts when you hit that door and you're done with it.
Yeah. I agree with that. And it's so funny because my mother used to always tell me, you have that, and excuse my French, nigga don't know fun for a rainy day. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, my mom, she was one of them. She tell you in a minute, put your money up. Do not let nobody control that. And,
And I had to learn that.
I had to learn that too, because, when you walk into a marriage, you walk into it, understanding you are one, your finances become one, you're supposed to share. And so when you go in with that mindset, sometimes for me, I had to leave what the old folks taught us, because, some of those things aren't traditional in what a marriage is supposed to be. But going through some of the things that we've been through in a domestic violence relationship, and some of these women, you do lose a sense of yourself. You feel stuck because you really cannot you cannot get ahead or go out for yourself because of the control factor. So we are getting to the end of the show, and I just wanted to, just have you, just give some final thoughts to some of the survivors that may be out there. Some final thoughts on, some of the things that you've been through that you want to share. Because one of the questions that I had for you, Nikole, is in the moment of going through that, were there a sense of, with you not having your parents, were there a sense of not having stability in your life? Because I know for me, like even
I
today,
didn't
I
have
still feel
protection.
like that.
I had no one to protect me. I
Yeah.
had no one to call. And then how we grew up is what happens at home stays at home. You better not tell anyone. So So I actually raised my kids that way, and that's one of my flaws in raising my children, was instilling that nonsense into them. And I would encourage, no, don't teach your kids that, because they actually believe that. So when things were happening, if they did see something, or heard him say something ugly, I wish I would have taught them to to say something. Go to school, say something to someone.
Yeah.
Tell your teacher, tell your principal, tell your counselor, call your dad, tell someone. We need to stop that. We need to stop teaching our kids that.
Yeah.
Period.
And you are a teacher, by the way. So,
Yes.
in your teaching profession, I know you probably seen a lot of things with kids being mistreated, but with your experience, does it help you, look for some of the signs of some of the kids coming to school and really
You
dealing
know
with,
what the weirdest thing
domestic violence situations?
is that they find me. They tell me stuff. I
Mm,
don't have to ask them anything. I'm not for sure if
wow,
I
that's
just have
good.
that type of aura is coming off of me that I have you, but I have had
Hmm.
multiple students come to me and tell me things.
Wow.
Mm.
So, as a teacher, what is your duty when a student comes to you with, certain type of information?
We are a mandated reporter. We have to report it. We
Okay.
have to report it.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's good. So, how I want to end the show, because, I love me some Nikole Maxie. And how I want to end the show is for you to tell survivors who she is today. What have you learned from this experience of being a survivor? And even though he tried to kill you, you are still here by the grace of God. Tell us who Nikole Maxie is today and what her purpose is moving forward.
my purpose is to help all women and men to get past this because we can. There's a tomorrow. There's a
Yeah.
brighter day. Hurt don't
Hmm.
last always.
Yes.
And I just say keep your faith, keep your faith. Find you some good friends, pastor, anyone to talk to, and just get that off of you so you can move forward.
Mm.
Because I never thought today I would be where I am today. Um, I never thought I would be here today. And I tell people all the time, this is a brand new Nikole. Um,
Yeah.
10 years ago is not this wouldn't be the person sitting here. You probably wouldn't even recognize me.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
I just say don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah,
Never give up.
yeah,
Never give
yeah.
up.
So where is your faith now? Like your faith to from 10 years ago to now. Tell us about that, Nikole.
Oh man. Nothing's impossible.
Yeah,
My faith is strong. Believe my
yeah,
faith is strong. Um,
yeah,
and it gets stronger by the day. I'm by far perfect, but I'm
yeah,
way better than what I was 10 years ago.
yeah, definitely. Well, Nikole, I want to say this. I love you, and I really thank you for the opportunity to interview you tonight. I know that we saved a life. I know that your testimony has helped somebody tonight. And I just want to tell you that I'm honored that you allowed me to use my platform once again to share your story. Now, I want to talk to the viewers. I want to tell you if you are in a domestic violence situation that you have people that are here to help and support you. I have an organization, Survivors with Voices Foundation, and I want you to feel free to reach out to us. And I'm sure if you was to reach out to Nikole, she will be happy to reach out and help you, and we point you in the right direction. You do not have to suffer alone, and you do not have to allow anybody to hurt you, mistreat you, beat you, or whatever you're going through. And I just want to talk to you tonight because all is all not lost. And we rather see you reach out to us than be the headline or a hashtag on social media or a headline on the news. So I'll end with this and I'll say that I am Alissa R. Jones with the Survivor's Voice with Alissa R. Jones. And although these topics are hard to talk about, they are much needed and necessary. And again, we want to thank our guest, Nikole Maxie, for coming on today. And I want to thank the viewers for participating, for all your questions and all your comments and encouragement. Because at the end of the day, sharing these stories is not easy, and definitely sharing your testimony is not easy. So we're going to end tonight, and we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you, and we thank you so much for watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.